Hello, I'm Jeff Myers, and welcome to Elgin Today. On this edition, Sarah Sabo of the Gail Borden Public Library staff will tell us about the Veterans History Project, a very important program remembering our local veterans and their stories with help not only from the library, but from students of Elgin Academy. The Center of Elgin turned 5 years old in December, and we'll show you highlights of the gathering they held. And upcoming this month at the center is the annual Little League registration, which always brings out big crowds of parents, players, and mascots. A wonderful comedy opera will be coming to the Hemmons Cultural Center early next month, and we'll give you all the details about this show you won't want to miss. An Elgin City Council member for one day finds out what it's like to be a firefighter as he tells his story to Elgin Today. And finally, the winter season means it's time to sign up for the annual Chili Open, the event at the Highlands Golf Course, as Jane Gregory has the details.
We'll have these stories and more on this edition of Elgin Today.
We open this time with exciting news from the Gail Borden Public Library and their involvement in the Veterans History Project that came from the Library of Congress, as the Assistant Director of Adult Services, Sarah Sabo, explains.
And what this is a way for our nation to preserve the memories and recollections of our veterans who served at World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the first Iraq War, and now the current conflict that we are involved in Iraq and Afghanistan. So what you'll find if you go to the Library of Congress Veterans History Project website is you'll be able to hear oral histories of our veterans being interviewed, their stories of how when they served in conflict, what they did during World War II, how they handled going to war. You'll also be able to see memorabilia that they might have, letters that they sent home, scrapbooks that they kept, pictures and photos, all kinds of wonderful memorabilia that they had. So when we saw this project, we wondered how we could participate. And we know Elgin has a very rich history of serving in all the wars. And so we put out a call to veterans, and this fall we were lucky enough to get 5 wonderful individuals to participate. We have Gordon Schnelly, who is a U.S. Marine who served at the Battle of Iwo Jima. We have George Bauer, who also served in the Pacific in the Coast Guard. We have Art Risha, who is a World War II Army veteran who served in Europe. We have John Niss, who is a Korean War veteran who was in the United States Navy. And we have Mary Lochner, who is a U.S. Army nurse in the Pacific on Saipan and Tinian. We were lucky enough to be able to partner with Elgin Academy, 8th grade students, led by their teacher, John Fleener. These students, for 1 week each morning, from 8 till 9 a.m. each morning, interviewed a different veteran. We used a set of questions prepared by the Library of Congress. And these students asked the veterans, there are 6 segments to the questionnaire, and these students interviewed the veterans. We also took, like I said, all of their photos, their diaries, their letters, and we scanned it. And what John and his students have been able to put together is a wonderful Ken Burns-like documentary for each of these veterans commemorating their service. Our first day was Gordon Schnelly, like I said, our U.S. Marine, who served on Iwo Jima. And Gordon knows his story so well, and the richness and depth of his story is just tremendous. And that was our first one that we've completed completely. And Gordon's completed documentary includes all of his photos during basic training, time that he spent in Hawaii, as well as time during the Battle of Iwo Jima. And then Gordon was also lucky enough to be able to go back to Iwo Jima several years ago on a trip courtesy of the United States Marine Corps. And he had some wonderful recollections of that too. So Gordon's interview is just a wonderful local history that we've been able to preserve.
Now, Sarah, we'll be able to see that on the library site now?
Eventually. We're not ready to put them up yet, but we're getting there. We'll create a digital archive of this. This is very important that we archive these interviews as a record of the citizens of our community, what they have done. Another very interesting interview is Mary Lochner. Mary was a U.S. Army nurse. She signed up to go into the United States Army and wanted to serve in World War II at a time when women, of course they were going into the workforce because of World War II, but Mary's story is very much a story of women today. Getting out in that workforce, she wasn't married, she was very independent, she went to school, she got a degree, She's just an inspiration, so not only for veterans, but for women also. Her story is very rich.
And you're still looking for Elginites with these stories?
We are. We're looking for any veteran who served during any of those conflicts. We have another round of interviews that will begin in January and February with the same group of students. I have a Vietnam veteran this time, several more World War II veterans. But yes, any veteran who would like to participate, we want to hear their story.
And who should they contact?
They should contact me here at the Gail Borden Public Library. You can also email me through the library's website, and I'll be glad to get back to them and get them the information that they need. We're also very fortunate to be able to incorporate the Veterans History Project in our Tapestry of Freedom project, our grant that we have going on in the library beginning February 2nd. These documentaries will be viewable on a television on the second floor of the library as part of the Tapestry of Freedom grant that we have starting at that time in February. We will also have artifacts from veterans who've served in conflict on the second floor, a nice exhibit.